Greetings from Canyon Lake, Texas. 4th of July. Big news here in Texas. Now, Canyon Lake, where I'm located, is about an hour and a half from a place called Kerrville, Texas. And it's in the Kerrville area that the Guadalupe River originates. So the river in Kerrville is flooding massively. It's gone from like 3 feet high to 30 feet high, if you can believe that. I've seen this. Down on 281 some years ago, there's a bridge that goes over the Guadalupe River. I mean, the river is way down there. And one year I noticed cars were parked all along next to the guardrails, and people were out over there with the bridges looking down with their cameras, and the water was like a few feet, I don't know, 6 feet from touching the underside of the bridge, maybe 40 feet down. That water had come up. So this part of Texas can have massive flooding. I've been here for 30 years. I've seen houses float down the Guadalupe River. Of course, now I'm involved with Krishna Disaster Relief. Still waiting for the 501c3 official Internal Revenue Service designation to arrive. You know, I was told it was going to take a few months. It's been maybe a month and a half. But regardless, you know, putting that aside, I think I may have mentioned, if not, I'll mention it now, but there's a tremendous potential to do more than just to provide vegetarian meals to the victims of disasters. There's more that can be done. Sumati and I were listening to local television, a news report about this flood and how emergency rescue equipment and teams are on their way to help with this disaster there in Kerrville. I'll be posting in the comments section, I'll post a YouTube video to show you what this flooding looks like. So I've always had this vision of a multi-faceted disaster response effort under the umbrella of Krishna Disaster Relief. I've often thought that one of the first things that can be done, you have to take baby steps. You know, it's called a gradient scale. You know, it's very difficult to go straight up. You got to work slowly, work your way up, and slowly develop Krishna Disaster Relief to its full potential. In the little pamphlet that I have written, which is really a blueprint for Krishna Disaster Relief, but in this blueprint, I mention, the beginning of this gradient scale, the beginning, working our way toward full potential. And at the beginning, what I wrote about and what I still plan to do is to provide drinking water. Well, you can say, well, what about vegetarian? What about providing vegetarian meals? Well, I think we can do that I think we can do that also. Sumati and I were talking about pasta, spaghetti. It's pretty easy to make. You can make spaghetti pretty easy. So this is what we're thinking, that we can provide both. But for sure, positively, we're going to start with water. There's a company in San Antonio that provides custom labeled bottled water. And I'm not saying that this is the only brand of water, but I wanted to, this company will print out a label on the water bottle. They fill the water bottle. They do everything. They do this. You know, like if you go to, I mean, not often, but I've been handed bottles of water with people's labels on it. You know, if you go to an event, there could be a label for that venue. The Alamo's 200th, whatever it is, anniversary. They could have an event. You know, the Alamo is famous. It's about the same distance as Kerrville is from here, but south. Kerrville's west. But if you went to this little Alamo, let's say they did have some sort of an anniversary celebration, they would probably have water with a little label about the Alamo. And so I've contacted this company, and this is one of the things I'd like to do. Provide 16-ounce water with our label on it, Krishna Disaster Relief. However, you have to understand that once we have our 501c3, doors open. For instance, Walmart and possibly HEB give 501c3s. They donate different products. Some of the products have been ripped open. It's very feasible. We're not going to turn down bottled water if it has Walmart's label on it. We're not going to turn down bottled water if it has HEB. That's the name of in Texas, that's the most famous grocery store. If it has an HEB label on it, or one of their other labels, we're not going to turn that down. I would like to be able to provide water with our label on it. That only makes sense, right? And you can imagine that it's a bit ironic with all this water, like in a flood, that there'd be no drinking water, but that is the truth. I've seen it time and time again, because these floods wipe out the electricity to run the water wells. The lack of water becomes an emergency. So Krishna Disaster Relief, that's one of the first things that we're going to do. Hopefully simultaneously provide a vegetarian spaghetti. It could be another form of pasta, you know, shell noodles. And again, all this can be donated. I know in Denver, Cisco Foods is I think it's nationwide. Cisco Foods provides delivery of food to restaurants. I'm sure you've seen a Cisco truck. They're full of, you know, bags of flour, whatever they need, canned goods. And in Denver, I was getting such a wonderful gentleman was the Cisco Foods manager there in Denver. You know, we became great friends. He would provide me with, let's say, a 15-pound, 20-pound bag of brown sugar with a hole in it. Here, Ron. He had a pallet set up. He'd put stuff for me. So getting pasta, spaghetti sauces donated, that's going to happen. And it should happen in a large quantity. So I think I started this video saying there's this flood. You know, this is quite substantial. I mean, we've been in, like, in my opinion, we've been in a 23-year drought here in Texas. Canyon Lake, I've never seen it so low. Islands are appearing that used to be covered. Just down the road, a mile from here, there's access to the lake. Well, right now, I can drive my Jeep down in there. People are now making roads. Well, you know, A number of years ago, there'd be 10 feet of water on top of my Jeep. Right now, I can drive on the lake bed, the dry lake bed. That's how, when I say a 20-year drought, this is what I mean. So this rain that we are getting is it's already broken. It's the second largest amount of rain in recorded history up in that Kerrville area. That's what, like I say, the Guadalupe River, and that river is headed here, Canyon Lake. They built that dam. See, Canyon Lake is an artificial lake. They built that. It's a dam because if before that dam was built, they'd get 10 inches of rain in Kerrville, the river would go up 20, 30 feet, and that water would go right into New Braunfels, Texas, and do enormous damage. So that Canyon Lake was built to stop all of the damage that was occurring. I think it was built in like 1964, year I graduated from high school. So this rain, seeing this on the news, hearing the sheriff talk about these high water rescues. They're rescuing a lot of people. I mean, there's another video of a exclusive girls camp up near Kerrville. They all had to be evacuated because these camps are on the Guadalupe River, and this search and rescue is going on. And I always thought, well, why not Krishna search and rescue? Why not? Maybe you're a young person listening to this video. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, maybe you're a young person, wondering, what am I going to do with my life? Or, what could I do? And, well, here you go. If you're the outdoor type and, you've got an adventurous spirit, you can become part of search and rescue. I would say go for it. Join a local search and rescue. Become certified. Become qualified. Bring your skills to Krishna Disaster Relief. And let us create that ability. During natural disasters, people need to be rescued. Yeah, people need to be fed. I get that. This is the impetus was Bobby Baines explaining how during these disasters, there's all these vegetarians and FEMA and the Salvation Army. They really are not set up to feed vegetarians. And yeah, that's how it started, but there's more to it. People need to be rescued. Krishna search and rescue. That's another aspect. Actually, that's in our bylaws to go in that direction. We're not just going to go providing a vegetarian food. No, we're going to do that and a lot more. There were a couple of friends of mine when I was living in Denver, when I was the director of Food for Life. This wonderful couple, they happened to like dogs. They had two dogs, two white dogs, Hari and Bull. And they took some serious grief over that, to the point where they actually left. Yeah, so some people consider animals to be filthy, to be, untouchable, whatever their reasoning. Some people love dogs. A lot of people do. And I would say to you, if you've dedicated your life to God, if you've dedicated your life to devotional service, but yet you have a natural affection for dogs, perfect, fine. Become part of Krishna Search and Rescue in your local area. Join. I mean, they already exist. You can see this if you've ever watched, on television. There'll be a massive earthquake. All these people are buried under the rubble, and there is an organization. Again, I've written this in details in this little blueprint If you want to read that blueprint, you're going to have to ask, and I'll send you the link, because it's not really for general consumption. I'm not hiding anything. If you want to read it, I'll send you the link. But it's a blueprint. It's not like a book. It's not a novel. It's a blueprint. And in this blueprint, I give the, who this organization is. What is the name of this organization that uses dogs to rescue people? Because dogs, if a building has fallen over and there's people trapped, a dog, through its nose and hearing and training, will tell the dog handler, the owner of the dog, that, hey, there's something here that needs to be investigated. You can have people trapped that are unconscious, that they're still alive. The dogs will find this. So if you're, if this is something, if you're a young person, you're looking for something to do with your life, and you happen to like animals and become part of your local group, you have to research that on your own and become expert and qualified and certified, and then come over to Krishna Disaster Relief, and you will become the head of that part of Krishna Disaster Relief. Search and rescue. I mean, right now they need people with boats and that experience to rescue people who are trapped maybe on an island. In the Guadalupe River, there's little islands. There could be someone trapped there. So if you like the idea of boats and adventures and jet skis, whatever it is, become involved on your local level. Become involved on your local level, and then bring your skills and knowledge to Krishna Disaster Relief. Become the department head of that aspect. There's search and rescue on the water. There's search and rescue like in earthquakes. Anyhow, that's why I'm making this video, this whole weather event that we're having here. It's basically been raining right here. Maybe you can hear it. It's been raining here for pretty much for 2 days, day and a half. Last night, horrendous rain. I see on my radar more is coming. So this is kind of stimulating this video, why I'm making it. And just think about this. How many doctors and nurses are there in America from India? I just met one last week, Dr. Saeed from India. He's a cardiologist. Think about all the doctors and medical professionals from India. I also can see, again, you got to start out gradual. I like to think. I like to imagine things. What about a field hospital? A field hospital, a lot of times in a war zone, all of a sudden over here, this conflict is going on, and so they will put up a field hospital. Not too close, but close enough to provide emergency medicine. So why couldn't Krishna Disaster Relief one day in the future have its own field hospital? You can actually purchase a field hospital. I'm talking about the structure, the tents, the equipment. It could be stored in a small trailer. Like an 18-wheeler. You see them going down the freeway. Walmart or Home Depot, these big trailers, they make different sizes. You can buy them new, you can buy them used. I bought one in Denver for the Rathiacha cart that Jeff and I built. A trailer large enough to, you have to take the cart apart and put it in there, and then next year you hook up a tractor and take it to where you need to go. A field hospital could be stored in a trailer. Maybe you're a doctor. I don't know. Maybe this idea is exciting. Organize doctors from India, doctors and nurses, and let's purchase the field hospital. These things can be purchased, ready to go. A used trailer can be purchased for under $5,000. Let's say $5,000. Everything can be stored in there. Now, I'm not saying, like right here in Kerrville, they're having this flood. You're not having mass casualty. No, I'm not talking about that. Yes, we are in the midst of a natural disaster right here, close to where I'm speaking from. But it's not the kind of natural disaster that would require a field hospital. But I would like to have that capacity. I mean, America, as you know, gets hit all the time by tornadoes. Also hurricanes. The potential for mass casualties here in America definitely exists. Anyhow, all this is going through my head. These are just possibilities. The potential of Krishna Disaster Relief, the way I see it, to provide so much service. There is so much that could be done. So I want to thank you for listening. This is just kind of a spur of the moment. I wasn't planning to make a video today. Yesterday, Sumati and I spent pretty much the entire day at a little campground on the Guadalupe River. During the day, there was no rain. It's such a beautiful campsite. Massive cypress trees gave us... Our little campsite was in the shade all day long, and that was very nice. But today, that's the thing. These natural disasters can pop up just like that. Overnight. Thank you so much for listening.